Hey everybody, welcome to Two Comic Book Dudes. I'm Aaron Clutter, editor-in-chief of Comic Booked, and with me as always, over on the other side there.
Hey everybody, Justin, the managing editor over at Comic Book.
And today we have a very special guest, Michael Moreci, joining us.
Hi, how you guys doing?
And Michael, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself? I mean, we know that you write comics and a lot of comics, but you want to just do a little bit of your background and give people an idea of who you are and where to look for you?
I write a lot of comics. I'm obsessive compulsive, and yeah, I write currently Roche Limit for Image, Transference for Black Mask, and Burning Fields, which is just about to end. Sadly, next month, our 8-issue series, the 8th issue comes out at some point next month in September, and that'll close that out, and then working on some stuff that'll be out next year. Always keeping busy, and then I'm on Twitter just at Michael Moreci, and I have a Tumblr and a web store and stuff like that. So I'm around. I'm around.
Okay, and we'll put some of those links in our description for the video when it's up, so everybody can know where to go click and find you, so they can stalk you.
Cool. Great.
So, we wanted to talk about a little bit of your background, kind of how did you get into comics? So we always ask, what was your gateway comic? What was the first comic book that you read that you thought, I want to write this stuff. I want to do this for a living?
Wow. In terms of why I do it for a living, I mean, I remember my first comic that I got was a Spider-Man Hobgoblin. I always had comics kind of around through my brother. I have an older brother, and through just like kind of through family. And I had neighbors that had four boys that were all a little bit older than me. The youngest was like a year older than me, and then they got older from there. They all did comics. So when I was like 4, 5, and 6, I was exposed to that stuff early. But my first spinning when I had a comic was a Spider-Man Hobgoblin, which I still have. And yeah, that was like the kind of gateway to really starting my love and passion for comics, and kind of stuck with me through that. And I think it was weird. I think I got to a point when I was like I think it was in the 90s, like when I was like I realized I couldn't draw that well, and I just didn't do that. So and all the comics coming out at that point, yeah, looking at my stuff, I was like, no, this is never gonna get it.
That's why we're doing this, so we can't draw, so we do this.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, I think we all wish that we could be comic artists, because, I don't know how, it's grueling, it's hard, but it's also pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but no, I think that I got that, I knew I couldn't do it around the 90s when they were mainly all writer artists, myself, Jim Lee, and Valentino and stuff like that. And I think I kind of fell out of comics for a while because of that, and because I went to college and stuff like that. But I think really what brought me back, I'm sure a lot of creators share this, is Why the Last Man. Why is the one book that was like really opened up to like this new aesthetic of comics. It's not just like Marvel, DC, or superheroes, and Image in the 90s was just derivative superheroes.
Right.
Like more, extreme, as Rob Liefeld would say.
Right.
Which is awesome. I love those books. Don't get me wrong. I think that was like the first time when I kind of got exposed and really started understanding what Vertigo was. I tried reading Batman. That wasn't for me then. I don't think it's for me. It's really a book that never really struck a chord with me. But I think why was the first time to go, the kind of stories that I like to tell, and how I like to tell them, and I can do this, and I can, have a creative team to collaborate with and make something, special with, Brian Vaughan did and continues to do.
Yeah, I remember that was really one of the first non-superhero books I picked up as well. Getting that and reading through that, I was like, this is amazing. So, yeah, I love that series.
It's just one of those things you look at it, it's just like it was something that nobody else was doing. Like there was still, Preacher was before that, Invisibles was before that, but it was still really like, those books, as great as they are, still had that kind of, anti-mainstream aesthetic to them. You know, they didn't transmet. You know, they had a very comic book style. Like, Y is still a comic book, but it just became like a new kind of comic. And then Y became, you know, DMZ, it became Scalp, it became so many other books that like are like the new comics, you know, so to speak. And not that it's better or worse, but I think that aesthetic appeals more to me than, you know, Transmatter and Visible's ever did.
And you kind of feel like that. I do sort of that was the catalyst that changed comics. But now comics have gone to, you know, there's the definite division. You have still the superhero realm, but then you have everybody else who's trying to still be that type of comic.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I think the industry is still trying to figure out how to adjust to that. And how to make both work, and how to make both work, and how they're similar and how they're different, and what the audiences are, and how to appeal to those audiences. But you're right. There definitely is like a very big there's a very big strain that I think Why Last Stand had. If it's not the alpha of it, was, you know, one of the books that really is responsible for what we have today. I mean, probably you can make an argument that's responsible for the modern image. You know, like. Because why led to these so many books, and then Brian came to Image with Saga and really bolstered Image. We had a big, huge role in bolstering Image to where it is right now. You know, 2-3 years later, however long it's been since this one came out. So I mean, you know, he's just a very important figure, and those books are really important to shaping the comic landscape to what it is today.
Yeah, for sure. So hopefully a few years from now, we'll look back and we'll say, you know, Transference was just this key book. So I mean, so many of the stuff.
It changed the game. It changed the game.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I really like that. When I picked up that first issue, I was like, okay, I think this is some kind of a sci-fi spy book, you know. But I didn't really like ahead of time see what it was about. So when I got it, I'm like, oh well, Michael Moreci's name's on it, so I'm going to pick it up. So when I read it, and I was like, oh, it's got time travel and it's got, you know, corporate espionage. It's just a really cool mesh of several different genres. And so I like that because it's something different, you know.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, do you want to talk about that book a little bit and kind of what was your inspiration for that? And anything you can tell us about it? I know you said you've already finished writing it, but we've only read the first issue. So.
Yeah, it's a strange book. I think that's a book that has been around for a really long time. I started writing it, and I remember because I started writing it when my wife got pregnant with her first, which was, he's almost 4 now, so this is, you know, he's 4.5 years ago. I really like actually I have a stockpile of last scripts because I don't know what's going to happen, you know. And I mean, I do nothing with the kid. But just kind of, you know, figure things out in a new way. I told me at the time, so I wrote a lot in that 9 months. And one of the things that survived out of that, I think I wrote Hope Centers, and I wrote a lot of Transference. And I've changed a lot of it since, but the beginning was way back then. It was always about like time travel espionage, where that was kind of neat and how you would do it. And one of the big influences, the show that was on at the time on AMC, that was on, it debuted, it was the show that preceded Walking Dead, in terms of like, it was on and Walking Dead came on, and it was called Rubicon. Do you guys remember that?
No.
Yeah.
Nobody.
I've heard of that one. Yeah, I watch a lot of TV, so yeah, I have heard of that show. I don't think I ever watched it, but I've heard of it.
Well, you couldn't now. They didn't even release it on DVD. They didn't bother. So, you can torrent like me. I've never torrented anything in my life. I was like, you know, if they're right. So for real, I really have. I was like, if they're not going to make it available, you're forcing my hand.
Right.
You know,
so I need this show.
Yeah, exactly. So, but that was a really cool thing about like this think tank espionage team. It was just such a good show. I love it so much. It's about conspiracies and the consequences of like really minor actions. And I was like, that's really fascinating because you think about that in time travel, because that's all about. If you do time travel really specific, it's about the consequences of minor actions. tinker in the past and how it affects the present. So I kind of did that, and it became, like you said, it kind of meshed. I think a lot of meshed a lot of genres and influences. Like I kind of, Roach Limit's definitely like that. Holster's like that. Burning Fields is like that. Or just kind of me riffing on a lot of different things. And Transference is kind of like a mixture of like a Christopher Nolan movie, Rubicon, and your kind of classic spy tropes from like Ian Fleming's Bond to the George Smiley novels. John le Carre, I don't know how you say his name, but his famous spy novels. So it kind of is a hybrid of a lot of different things with time travel as well. I just try to make it work. I think like sometimes the stew comes out well, sometimes it doesn't. But I think Transference is one of those times where I was happy with the results. It's kind of cool because I feel like the first two issues were a lot of setup, and the third one I think is the turn of the screw, where things really kind of kick into high gear when something big happens in 3, and I'm excited for that to come out.
Oh yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I was kind of waiting for you to say something about Time Cop. Isn't that like a classic sci-fi? Things change in your past and mess up your future. But yeah, Transference is an excellent book, and number 1's probably still available a lot of places, but I know number 2 is supposed to be out, so we're still fishing for that one. So we'll have to see. I don't know, Justin, have you seen anything on our new comics list about it?
I can take a look.
Okay, because I think we went back and looked, and it's not on the list for last week. We usually get a list from like the big companies and just says all of the books that are coming out for the week, and I don't remember seeing it, so we'll track it down.
It was definitely supposed to be out, but it maybe just one of those things where shipping late or something weird happened with Diamond. So hopefully that's the case. It's not missing.
Yeah. Well, I know we have had some other books recently that have come out like a week or so later than we expected. So, but yeah, Burning Fields. You brought up Burning Fields, and that's another one that when I first started reading it, I thought, oh, this is going to be one thing, and then as I read through, and I just finished 7 this past weekend, and I was like, oh, this is something completely different. By the time you get to near the end, it's just morphed into this thing that was way more than I expected. And it's really a great, just a great series. And we may have lost your sound. All right.
We can wait just a second. I'm looking.
Yep. Hang on just a second. Okay. Minor technical difficulties. We're good.
Good to go.
So talking about Burning Fields, that first issue, I picked it up and I'm like, okay, well, this is, set in a Middle Eastern country and we have an oil field. And I figured we're playing on kind of the war idea. We hit with the American government coming in and trying to kind of impose their will on the community to take control of that oil field. But then I'm like, no, something else is going on here. Then you have some murders, and like, okay, well, maybe the locals are doing this to try to drive out the bad Americans. But then it just morphed into so much more. And you talked about a lot of different influences on that book, and having with the end coming for us anyway in about a month. What do you feel about the whole book when you stand back and look at it now?
Well, it's a book. I'm sure everyone said, a lot of people say this, and I probably said this a million times in all my work, and I'm proud of all of them in different ways because I get to collaborate with good publishers and good artists and letters and colorists. There's always a sense of pride in that and getting your work done. But I think this one's a little bit more, especially proud of it because I think it has something worthwhile to say. This book was born out of my deep intolerance for private militaries that I've had for a few years now, and I still have to this day. I think they're very, very dangerous and doing a lot to undo a lot of the good things that are happening in the Middle East and other parts of the world. It's a comic I don't think that comic gets made that often. I think that's unfortunate. Like a really politically driven, serious take on the issues that are hard to talk about. I think DMZ is one of my favorite books. Is one of those books. But they're not that often. They're not that often made, and the fact that we kind of pulled it off, that we kind of slipped it through, and got those things across about, like, you know, the evils of, you know, I don't use that word lightly, the evils of private militaries and the terrible things they've done. You know, there's this great book called Blackwater that's about, you know, the Blackwater, the private military outfit that, I'm sure you guys have heard of them. The writer on that, Jeremy Scahill, my good friend, was his assistant for a long time, and assisted researching a lot of that book, and he shared a lot of this, and I've read Blackwater about a time and a half now, and he also shares me a lot of things that he learned and a lot of stuff that wasn't in the book, and it's just it's a grim picture, you know. I think that anger, you know, kind of towards that and kind of heartbreak of what they've done and what they do drove that book and drove Tim and me, and Tim Daniel, my co-writer on that, who feels the same. And I think what we accomplished, is something worthwhile. You know, I think that is something important that's not getting a lot of attention. You know, in comics, I think we talk about a lot of important things, but I think we talk about a lot of things that are very that are zeitgeist. You know, I think we talk about things that are kind of the moment, but we don't often take a step back and look at things that are really, you know, truly kind of devastating and difficult that's not happening in our backyard. And I think Burning Coast did that. And I think what's good is that, like, it did it in a way that it would still, I hope, you know, and maintain its entertainment value. You know, that wasn't just, you know, us pontificating from a soapbox. There's only one. Yeah, I mean, you know, like no one's going to be engaged. You know, like, you don't want that. I remember reading The Jungle from Sinclair. You know, I read a lot of these kind of political books in the Jungle. You know, you read that, you know, up in Sinclair, after you read that, you know, every couple sentences is like, can you believe it? My God, this is happening. You know, it's just like, all right.
Yeah.
We got, you know, it's terrible, we know, but you gotta kind of ease people into that.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's like, you know, you don't want to do that. I think that you lose people. We might have lost people anyway, but I think that we present it in the best way we could have. And you're right. I mean, that was the cool thing. I mean, we added in this monster mythos, and the monster mythos is not just there to be there. I mean, the whole point is that, like, what has happened create the monster. So there's a physical manifestation of what is going on.
Right.
So there was, you know, intention behind it. So I think that, like, that's a book that, like, Tim and I talk about it all the time, because, you know, it's not a book that sells incredibly well. Admittedly, it's gotten great reviews. It's always kind of, you know, thought of highly for people to read it. I'm very grateful for that. But I think in trade, and I think that book's going to have a long tail. At least I hope it doesn't, so people continue to discover it, because I think it's you always want people to discover your book, but I think I want people to discover this book not for my sake, but because I think it's an important book. And I think that, like, Colin Lorimer, who is the artist, and Joanna Fuentes, who's the colorist, did a masterful job. I mean, I don't say this lightly, but they should win an Eisner for that next year. They should. Yeah. Colin should at least be nominated.
Yeah.
Or at least be discussing.
It's definitely beautiful. I mean, that's one of the things that keeps me coming back to that book, especially, is the artwork. I mean, the covers and the interior are just amazing. I've really, you know, that the story's great, but in addition to the way they visually portray it, it's really, really well done.
Oh yeah, I mean, it really is. I mean, Colin just gotten somehow better. Him and Joanna, and they really did something unique and special that it just doesn't happen with every book. And it's a shame they haven't gotten more recognition, because it's brilliant. It's never been late, and that book is beautiful. It's never been late. Never been a hiccup. And that for 8 issues they've done that, and that's it's remarkable. It really, really is.
Yeah. It's been a great book. I'm definitely looking forward to the wrap up next month with that one. So
happy ending.
Yeah. It's good. As happy as that story can end, right? We'll see what happens with the giant demon under the oil fields. Well, Justin, I'll stop talking. You can ask some questions. How about that?
Oh no, that's fine. I was just going to say Transference 2 was listed for last week. So
okay,
if you couldn't find it last week, try this week. It should be there.
Okay. At some point.
It'll show up. Or just ask those at your local comic book shop to hold it for you when they get it.
That's right.
Easy enough.
Yep.
then you don't have to wait for it. It waits for you.
That's right.
So I was just with Roche Limit, Clandestiny, and it kind of being a second part. And I know that we got 2 more issues, 1 more issue. 5 comes out, right? Next month?
Yeah, 5, yeah. So, yeah, tomorrow's 4, and then 5 is next month. So, yeah, 2 more issues.
Is there going to be a 3rd series?
Yeah. Yeah, the third series actually is the end. That's the final. It was planned to be a trilogy.
Okay.
There'll be 5 more issues. A new title. This one takes place it was like the first one was called Anomalous, and that was in the future.
Mm-hmm.
It's, distant, a little bit distant from us. Clandestiny is 75 years after that, and then the next one is a longer time even after that.
Oh wow. Okay.
Cool.
Well, I'm really, really enjoying Clandestiny. I think the art's great. The story, like the pacing of it, is amazing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm lucky with Kyle Charles, and Vic before him. Now Hacha was on Anomalous, and now Kyle does Clandestiny. They're both great. They're both great. I can't say enough good things about both of them.
Yeah, the first volume of that, I read through that again this last week or so, and just read all 5 issues straight. And I love the book was separated because you had the first part was the founder of Roche Limits of the colony, and he was kind of given his final speech in a way, right? It was his note to people, hey, I'm done. These are the mistakes I made. This is maybe what I would have done differently. But it was interesting the way as he unfolded his story through the 5 issues, then you had the parallel going on in the colony with the people, dealing with the issues they were dealing with. I really liked that kind of the division of the book. That was something I look forward to with each issue. And then that wrap up at the end of the book, I was like, now I want to go and pick up Clandestiny again and read all the issues. So that'll be my next thing.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's something I definitely had planned from the start. With that and Clandestiny. Like when you read Clandestiny, the first issue, it starts with with a flash forward to something that we get back to in issue 5. And the cool thing is, I wanted it to be Clandestiny to really be a book that was more action driven, and you get that right away. And I wanted to put that against Anomalous, which started, like you say, it starts with Langford's monologues and his laments, his humanity laments and things like that. And I wanted that to kind of juxtapose against each other. And also the both methods suited the books and suited the story they were trying to tell. And I miss reading Langford's monologues and his dreariness of the hopelessness of the world. But it ended on a hopeful message. You could find hope at the end, and there's some sort of hopefully something sublime in that. Ultimately,
I liked that the first series. It was interesting because I felt like it was more of a mystery. And then the second series, Clandestiny, is more, like you said, more action-packed. So you have kind of that transition into more of the action. And then, so who knows what we'll see in the 3rd volume, right? The mesh of mystery and action, or something new?
I'd say more like space opera.
Okay.
The 3rd. I mean, it doesn't have that, vastness to it because it's only 5 issues, but it's more like that. I can. That's what I can say about the 3rd volume. It'll be out in January.
January.
Cool.
Okay.
Something to look forward to. I'll put that on my list.
I'm doing that right now.
Okay. A couple other things that I've read that you've worked on. Rise of the Planet of the Apes. That was a great series, and that was both that and Burning Fields. You worked with Boom. And then so you want to talk just a little bit about. I don't want to take too much of your time tonight, but talk just a little bit about working on something that's it's kind of a prequel to the movie. And you're writing in a sort of a pre-established environment. You kind of have some more restraints there than you do with Roche Limit or with the other books that were your creation. So you want to talk a little bit about how that's different?
Yeah, it was definitely it was cool. It was definitely weird because I hadn't really done it that much before. I had done some one-off of like for Dynamite and stuff like that. I haven't really done too much licensed work, and I don't necessarily pursue it so hard because like I much prefer doing my own thing.
Sure.
But I'm a huge Planet of the Apes fan. I love Planet of the Apes. You know, it's one of the things like the director Matt Reeves, you know, talks about how he directed the Dawn of the Planet, the second one. He talks about how like that was in Star Wars, and I don't go that far, but it was a big part of, you know, growing up. So, and Boom knew that, I believe. You know, the guy who set that up was Bryce Carlson, and he got me on to do that, which I'm still grateful for. And it was definitely different because like playing someone else's you know, sandbox is definitely some rules, especially with Planet of the Apes, because like that, you know, the movie had just come out, so like people were watching. You know, a lot of times licensing, you know, people, you know, in my experience, you know, if it's like an older license, it's like just something that's kind of coming out in a sense for like fan nostalgia, which is, there's nothing wrong with that, but that's what exists. Coming out for fan nostalgia, the stakes are a little bit higher because no one's really like protecting the property as if it's like what is called like a live property, which Planet of the Apes, maybe not still now because there's a gap between the movies. So like at that time, it was a live property, so everyone's like, you know, don't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I wrote this pitch. I remember writing this pitch, and I was like, dude, this is such an awesome pitch, and I was so excited about it. And I felt like it was very Planet of the Apes-ish. You know, it was very political, and it had stuff about like culture and a war, and like it was just like this, like, you know, very gritty Planet of the Apes thing. And they were like, no. You know, and we worked it out. It was fine. It was the whole like kind of process of like getting it to where it needed to be. But it's something I haven't really experienced. You know, I went with Image and I just turned in a complete issue, and they don't know. They don't even know ahead of time what it's going to be. You know, so like
they're very trusting.
Yeah, they very are. So God bless that, man. But in this instance, yeah, they're very protective, which is cool because it got me to learn a lot about that process and learn a lot to, you know, collaborate with others and, you know, to look at a story in different ways and get it to where it needs to be and fashion it and you know, appease different I guess you can say different aesthetic, but like different I can't think of the word, but you know, just different ideas of what it should have been. And so it was cool. It was cool. I had really great editors and staffman, Alex at Boom, who was incredible. And you know, we had a blast making it, so it was fun. But it was definitely different of like having that intense experience. You know, at Boom we still have that with our creator-owned book. With, you know, I did Bernie Fields and Curse before that, and we worked with two editors, Tim and I, who are both also amazing, but it's a little less, like they're just kind of trying to, it's like reverse of the process. Like they recognize what our story is, and they're trying to bring us to where we want to go. Where with Planet of the Apes, they're bringing you to where they want to go. So it's a kind of a cool flip side of both experience, and I think there's a lot of benefits to both. They're both pretty interesting and pretty cool. But like, yeah, I mean, Planet of the Apes it was a blast. It was cool to be able to do that. And I hope with the new movie, you know, War of the Planet of the Apes comes out in 2 years, I hope that we can revisit a comic because I would love that.
Yeah. And you had to mention Curse. I completely forgot. That was an amazing series. I guess that was the first series I read of yours. So I remember picking that up. Somebody sent me an email and they said, "Hey, can you check out the first issue of Curse?" And I don't even remember who it was that sent me the email. And they'd asked if we'd do a review on it. And so I picked it up, and then I immediately put it on my poll. And that was another one of those where, you know, I think it was 4 issues, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And I started reading it, and I was like, oh, this is good. And I started picturing, okay, this is maybe where this is going to go. And then by the end of the book, I was like, what happened here? It was great, really. I love the twists in it. It was a good werewolf story.
Yeah. That was a lot of fun, and I think that like we were able to, you know, underscore a lot of like expectations, like you say, because it's funny because like when Tim and I started writing it and it was coming out, we did a lot of interviews at the time, and people were asking like, oh, you know, what's your favorite, you know, what's your style? Shoving my White Sox shirt in the screen. People were like, you know, what's your favorite what's your favorite werewolf story? And neither one of us, we had some, Tim had read that book, The Last Werewolf, which I've always wanted to, and I've seen American Werewolf.
Mm-hmm.
But neither one of us were really big, werewolf, devotees or whatever, so we were like, we really don't know, But I think that kind of detachment served the book better because, like, we were, able to, like you point out, which I'm glad we did, was kind of defy a lot of expectations and make a new take on the genre, which is a cool horror genre. It's a cool, part of the tradition.
Yeah.
So that was a pretty cool thing experience. We got, again, worked with Colin, who did great work, and Riley Rossmo was on it as well. He did what he always does, which is fantastic. And so that was a cool little book. Those 4 issues I thought that was fun.
Yeah, that was great. Okay. And so I'm trying to think what else we want to talk about. We want to talk about hoax hunters. Are we going to see more?
I hope so. That's kind of the things that now it's not up to me at this point, because Heavy Metal has Heavy Metal's in the driver's seat because we migrated to Heavy Metal because they have the film option, and they're kind of directing a movie, and I think where that goes will determine if we see more. I mean, I definitely hope so because we ended in a place that begs for more, major character shots.
Yeah.
But I think the possibility is strong. It probably wouldn't be for a little while. I mean, probably mid to end of 2016 if we did. But I'd like to see it. I'd like to continue that story at Heavy Metal, but you just never know.
Yeah. So the first series was with Image, right? 13 issues. And
yeah. Well, technically, it was weirdly it was 15 issues because we did issue 0 and we did annual, like the case file. So there was 15 issues, which is crazy to think about. Like we did 15 issues of that. We didn't. I mean, I had no idea what I was doing. I don't know how that thing went on for so long.
Yeah, it was great because. Yeah. Well, you're playing on. Yeah, you were playing on the ghost hunters kind of thing, which was great. And I liked so much of the book focused on the relationships between the characters, and so you had that, but then you had their backgrounds so troubled. Every one of them had some big major skeletons in the closets that they had to deal with. That just made it a cool team to follow through, and every time you turned around, something bad was happening, and somebody was dying, and you go, "Wait, don't kill that person off!" And but yeah, it was great. And then the Heavy Metal version, I liked the new volume. I read through those, but yeah, at the end, I'm going, I want more. We have to continue this story. So I hope the movie does well, and I hope we see more of that story. So.
Oh, okay. Thanks. Yeah, me too. That's kind of my baby in a way because that was the first really thing that I did in comics. I'd done anthology work, and I did independent graphic novel a while before that, and did some self-published stuff. But that was the first Image, direct market in previews kind of thing. So that was
right.
That was pretty cool. So that always has a tender spot for me, and always will.
Cool.
Awesome. I know that you also said that you have a novel coming out. Do you want to plug that, or can you talk about that? Is that a thing?
Yeah, it's a cool thing. I have a background in prose. I've written a novel before that's mercifully unpublished. So through my agent, because I still publishing short stories over the years, and I want to get back into doing that to balance out comic work. And this opportunity came up to it hasn't been formally announced. I have to be kind of dodgy about what I say, but basically it's coming out with for one of the bigger presses, and it was I'm being hired to basically in a sense ghostwrite, although I don't get credit. It's not really ghostwriting, I guess, but it's sort of like that idea. I'm writing somebody else's idea into a novel, so which is very cool because it's a cool. When I first got fired, when I first asked me about it, I was like, I was very apprehensive because you wonder what is the story going to be? But the story is really, really cool and really, really I love it. I think it's really great. So when I read the synopsis, I was like, oh wow, this is rad. Yeah, I'd love to do this. So I'm working on that now. My deadline is in spring. So I'm about a third of the way through.
Awesome.
So I'll get there. I'll get the deadline. It's a little kind of crazy. When I had to start doing that again, I started writing it really in earnest about 2 months ago. I really started on it again. It was like the first couple weeks. I was like, man, this is way harder than comics. I got delayed for years.
Yeah, no, it'd be great to talk to you again when it's closer to time that we can talk about it, or once it actually releases. That'd be great too.
Yeah, I'd love to. I'm dying to be able to talk about it. It's kind of waiting for all once we get the it's like paperwork and everyone kind of make these like last details, and then it'll kind of like be in like the book,
right?
All the places, and which is cool. So when that happens, I want to be able to kind of be able to talk about it in more direct terms. So it'll be fun. I'm excited for that.
Cool.
Is that kind of like a hard part about being a writer, a professional writer, is having these stories but not being able to talk to anybody about them?
Yeah, I mean, I think the hardest thing is like having these stories and agreeing to get someone to pay you for.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I mean that's the hard part too. You have to sit on so many things that are under wraps. Working on my next image book, which haven't been I can't talk. I haven't been able to talk about with anybody. Excited about that, and a couple other projects that are like 2016, even 2017, which is like
wow.
So it's like I can't. It's like I'm really excited, but I can mention it. I talk to my wife. She's like, yeah, that's nice.
Is it that comic book stuff again? Yeah. Yeah, that's funny. All right. Well, we know you're going to make an appearance at New York City Comic Con, which is a big deal coming up in October. But other than that, no other appearances this year.
No, that was it. It was the summer was definitely a gauntlet of stuff, and it's I have two small kids, so traveling is especially difficult for me because it's like it's a burden for the household. It's very hard,
right?
It's hard for me if she goes away with me. It's even way harder because she has her stuff together and I don't. But it's also I just don't like being away from them. I went to San Diego Comic Con. I was gone for like a good 4 or 5 days, something like that. And I was just dying. I just hate being away that long from the kids. So I try to limit my travels, but there's certain things that I need to go to and that I like to go to because I like interacting with people. I like seeing friends that I only see like on that the con circuit, and retailers and all that kind of stuff. So I definitely enjoy. There's a big part that I enjoy, and there's a big part of it that I don't enjoy. So it's just finding a balance, being selective on where I go and where I don't go. And it's going to be tough, but it's also like it's good. I guess a good problem to have, because it's like being able to go to cool places and be around great people. So that's always good. And New York Comic Con is one of the best, one of my favorites, if not my favorite con of any year. So I'm looking forward to October 8th is the first day. Actually, I just booked my flight today, so it's fresh in my mind. So definitely
and just wait till your kids are teenagers, and then you'll be like, when's the next convention? When can I go?
Yeah. Well, I'm waiting for the gap, like for them to be able to go with, and hang out. My younger is just turning 4, and he's like starting to get into comics. And I just got Craig Thompson's new book in the mail today. It's Space Dumplings. I don't know if you guys have heard of that one. It's the guy Blankets and another big one. But he did another. He was kind of more an indie guy. He did through Scholastic. He did this book. It's all ages, like space family adventure book. We read a little bit of it already. And it's fantastic. It's great. I love his work, and him doing the all ages thing was just fantastic. I'm so happy he did that.
That's cool. Okay. Well, Justin, you have any other questions, Justin?
No, that's it. I think we've kept you long enough.
Yep. I think we've about run over our time too. So we only have so much film in this, and it runs out. So. All right. Well,
cool. I'm glad to talk. Thank you.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. It's nice to get together with the creators and just discuss their work and get the word out there. Really, we're here to get the word out about comics. and talking with you, especially, about all the different things you've done and the things you're going to be doing. Hopefully people are watching this and getting more excited and going out there and looking for all the stuff you've done and looking forward to what you're going to be doing. So.
Yeah, I hope so. That'd be great.
Not just for your own livelihood, right?
Yeah. Well, no, thank you for helping that. You guys both been great about sharing things and writing and interviewing and all this kind of stuff. So I truly appreciate it. It really means a lot. So thank you. Thanks it was a great talk. This was fun.
Cool. All right. Well, everybody out there, thank you for watching and taking the time to, spend your time here. We really appreciate if you would share, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff to get the word out. Check out our website, comicbook.com. Check out our 2 Facebook pages, Comic Booked on Facebook and 2 Comic Book Dudes. And, any other way you can find us, we're out there on Twitter as well. We'll have links in the description for this video. This video will also be hosted in a article on our site. So you can find us all over the place. Michael, hopefully we'll get to talk to you again, maybe closer, like early next year, about some of your new projects. So we thank you again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks a lot, everybody. We appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you, Aaron. We'll talk soon, I'm sure.
All right. Okay. Bye-bye.
Have a good day, man. See you, Justin. Good talking to you.
All right. Good talking to you. Thanks.
Thanks.
Good night, guys.